Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the iRacing Today radio show for May the 8th, 2014. My name is Trevor Cameron. I am your host as usual. There was a coup earlier that they were trying to oust me as the leader and I'd like to say cult leader of this show, this podcast, but it didn't work. I fought them off with bananas. It was a weird situation. I can't fully explain it. But I'm your host of the iRacing Today radio show, and up here with me I have Mr. Chad Dalton, my co-host. How are you doing tonight, Mr. Chad?
Notice nobody fought me off. They want me to round.
Well, I invited you into the thing, and that's why it hurt so much when you started that coup. I mean, you didn't participate. You were kind of in the background as a financial backer, trying to just pay the guerrilla warriors to come in and take me out. But it didn't work. But I forgave you. It's fine.
By the way, you really bob your head a lot and sing to our intro song a lot more than I ever thought you did.
I told you. Now, I mean, the video recording didn't start until we're just at the end of it, so they only caught the last little bit. They didn't, catch me lip syncing the song. That was just for my own benefit.
You were over here like 3, 2. It's like, okay, he really likes the intro song.
It's a good intro song. I mean, it has, it has both of us in it. So, I had the original one that came with the podcast that I created, and then you took that and made it better. So, it's become part of us, part of our DNA, our makeup. The only problem is that it contains a song that we don't legally have the licensing rights to, but we only have a short period of it, so I think we're okay, and I'm pretty sure Motley Crue is not watching it and going to come and sue us.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Maybe we have some listeners out there who write original music, huh? Write us a new theme song, or maybe we should just go look for, stuff that's available under Creative Commons or public domain and stuff. Like Happy Birthday. Oh wait, no, that doesn't work at all. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, go on. That's a constant joke thing where they have the thing. They on TV shows they go sing Happy Birthday, and it's like, well, that's not public domain because apparently somebody created a stink. Whoever owns the Happy Birthday songs, you can't sing that on TV because you have to pay licensing fees for it. It's a real dumb thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing at all. That's just me that knows this. Okay. Awesome.
Nope.
But, ladies and gentlemen,
the show.
We have got a good show for you guys this week. We've got, obviously, our news segment, which we've got some stuff to talk about, as always. We've both been out on the track this week, so we've got some experiences to talk about and, how that ties into my newfound fascination with streaming. That seems to be catching on like some sort of virus. Of course, make sure that everybody goes out and votes in our poll question. We just put it up last week, and I'm curious to see the results of this one. So go head over to the page and check that out. Make sure you vote in there, get your voice heard, so we can talk about it at the beginning of June. It kind of ties into what I was just talking about a minute ago. But me and Chad have both been busy. Or is that Chad and I? I don't know. Is there an American and Canadian version of that?
Always put me first.
Oh, okay. So Chad and I have both been playing around with our YouTube channels to try to make those better for you guys to be watching and whatnot. Let's see. We've got. I don't know what's happened, and I don't know what we did to make this work. But ever since the beginning of the show, we have wanted as much participation from you people out there listening as we could, and suddenly over the last few weeks. It's like the floodgates have opened, and all of a sudden you guys have all of a sudden said, you know what, you guys
came out of the woods.
You guys have been around a year. I think you're going to stay around. So you know what? Now we're going to start interacting with you because we've gotten all kinds of emails and tweets and all kinds of stuff that you guys have been sending us. Some great ideas. So we've got a couple of those we're going to bring up this week. Some great messages we got and some suggestions. We've got our track of the week, which is Michigan International Speedway? Raceway. MIS. Yeah. And our car of the week, which is the Chevy National Impala, otherwise known as what we used to have as the nationwide car, but is now different. And we've got our rookie tip of the week is also one of those suggested by a fan as well. So thanks everybody out there for listening. We always thank you guys for listening, but we are really appreciating and enjoying the fact that you guys are participating, and you know what, it's just been awesome. Like, I have loved this last couple of weeks with all the emails and all the interactions and stuff. So thank you very much, everybody, and keep it coming. So why don't we head into the news there, Mr. Chad? Who brings us the news?
Well, iRacerStuff.com brings us the news. As per usual, we appreciate them jumping on board to, I don't know what they do. Provide us all this great content. That's what they do.
I don't know what they do. I don't know. They said, say our name.
But they do a lot of updating, and that website has a lot of stuff on it. So if you're ever bored one day at work and there's just nothing going on, you know, you didn't hear this from us, check out iRacerStuff.com. You know, you got all kinds of stuff to read on there.
Why didn't they hear from us?
Because I don't want to get in trouble for telling them not to work.
Oh, okay.
Got to cover our tracks, Trevor.
Fair enough. I mean, we're already getting sued by Motley Crue. You know, a few weeks ago, I called out that, you know, WWE wrestler Daniel Bryan. So any day now, he's gonna be breaking down my door and challenging me to a beard fight. So, you know.
But anyway,
we don't need more problems.
I know. Man, I'm gonna wake up one day and the police are gonna be at my front door and be like, "Why are you here?" And be like, "Oh man, you've been doing all this stuff with your radio show." Anyways, iRacing.com is always working to make their game better, and of course, that just recently happened with their new build and a slew of features and cars and tracks. And if you haven't joined, we're looking at you, first of all. And if you're watching the video, we are literally looking at you.
We are staring into your souls like, why? Why haven't you joined yet?
Exactly. But for a limited time, until May 31st of 2014, memberships are half priced, and that's all 4 of the memberships that they offer, which is 1 month, 3 month, 1 year, and 2 years. So, of course, as we mentioned before, the best out of those 4, if you're really going to go all out with iRacing, is the 2-year deal, because that's a pretty good deal for half priced. This only works on new accounts, so if you've already joined iRacing, sorry. It cannot be combined with any other offers, and you can head to iRacing.com/membership for more information.
Now, I wonder if, I mean, it's for new memberships only. So what if somebody joined way back, you know, a couple years ago or whatever, and, you know, signed up for a couple months, didn't like it, got busy, had a baby, had a puppy, something that caused them to not be able to race. I guess if they didn't have any particular attachment to their old account, they could probably create a new one, except for if they were using the real name, then they'd probably have a 2 after it. Yeah. But that would count as a new membership. You know, you'd lose all your stats from your previous one, but I don't think that to be such a big deal. So if you wanted to come back and you said, you know what, wonder what's going on with iRacing, then you found this show, and you listen, you know what, I don't know what's going on with iRacing, and these people are not very good at informing me, but they seem excited, so I'm going to join back up. No?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I was waiting for a reaction on the, you know, they don't know what they're talking about, but you accepted it like a man.
Just tank those punches.
So, moving right along in the news, some exciting news for our IndyCar fans is most people who are in the know in the iRacing or / motorsports enthusiast category know that the Indy 500 is just around the corner. And therefore, so is the iRacing.com version of the Indy 500. They run it as one of their World Tour events. It doesn't fit into one of the other series, like we've mentioned in the past, the ones that they do for the NASCAR. They're tying it into their season-long NASCAR series. The ones that fit onto the road, they've been tying into the Road Warrior series. This is kind of in no man's land. So they're generating it or creating it like one of the old World Tour events, where basically they're just setting up a specific series for that week with qualifying practice and all that good stuff. So the news of it is, as most people know, that they have been trying to get the DW12, the new version of the IndyCar with its ugly little pods in the back, out into the service for a while, and it's been, hey, it's coming, not yet. No, wait, we're all, yeah. But they are hopeful that they're going to be able to get it out in time for the Indy 500. They mentioned, I believe, when they were talking about this build, when we talked about what was coming up, they mentioned that they were hoping to get it out during this build, but it wasn't ready for the actual Week 13 rollout of the build, and that still stays true with this, and the fact that they're going to be hopefully rolling it out in time for the Indy 500. They've laid a deadline out. I believe it's the 19th, I think they said, which is right before qualifying starts, in order to say, here's our cutoff. If it's ready and it's available by then we're going to go. And we're going to be, we're going to use the DW12 in time for it, so everybody's on the same ground with qualifying, practice, that sort of thing. Elsewise, they'll use the old car. I know a couple people were listening and saying, or talking in the forums and saying things like, "Hey, well, if it's not ready, why don't they delay it?" Because people don't care about the iRacing.com Indy 500 unless it's on Indy 500 weekend.
Mm-hmm.
True story. Cool story, bro. So. Tony Gardner, Tony Gardner has said in the forums that, and I quote, "I don't know if it is going to be finished in time or not," and actually paraphrased that quote. So paraphrased that quote there, man.
You had one job. I gave you this news feed just to read. I made it easy for you. All you have to do is read, and you still
I know.
mess it up.
But the problem is that I didn't like the way it was phrased, and I felt that I added more to it by...
But Tony Gardner wrote it like that. It does not matter if you like it or not. You read it the way the man wrote it. He's the president.
Yes, sir. Did you just copy and paste this out?
Yes.
So this is exactly what was in there for.
That's what I got off iRacerstuff.com.
There we go. Then, Tony Gardner says, and I quote, "I don't know if going to be finished or not in time. If not, we'll run race with old car." See? I think my way made way more sense.
Yeah, but this way is so much more fun.
Continuing on, the artwork and production work is about done, so that will not be the issue. I was just talking to the vehicle dynamics engineer focused on it, and he is making good progress. He already has the aero package in testing and working on other elements of the car, but not much time left. Just trying to be completely transparent, as I know people like to practice for this way in advance and start working on setups and things like that. If we have any more information or indication of which car it will be as we move closer, we'll let you know and keep you updated. Count on probably another week or so before any other information, but guessing will come down to wire. We will not release the car unless happy with it for the race. Sorry for the uncertainty, but in building new cars, there is a lot of it that is not under our control, as we need teams, manufacturers, access to cars, and all that to complete them. Good news is we have what we need and working away on it.
End quote.
End quote. And I've never talked to Tony Gardner, but I'm assuming that is what he sounds like. That is my Tony Gardner voice.
Now we got to interview him just to have a fun conversation with that.
Well, it's like, so, Tony, what do you think about the progress of iRacing as a service?
Me not know. Me go ask somebody.
I don't know if going to be finished or not in time. That's
I can just see him like making weird, like hand gestures, I guess. Let's go along with that. Now, after that riveting bit of news, we are going to throw something out that another listener of the show from our little UK clan of people suggested, and Trevor has more information on that one.
Yes, this was sent in to us by Mr. Chris Bourne. If you remember from a previous show, he was the guy who had actually asked us to clarify the rules on restarts. So he has sent us another email, and I will mention that he has apparently taken our advice to heart on how restarts work, and it has actually led to some more success, and he even managed a second place in a Class C road course that he was pretty happy with, because he's been able to be a little bit more aggressive on restarts because he wasn't afraid of breaking the rules anymore. So he was actually, basically the gist of it was he was wondering if we could put in the iRacing Today radio show logo on iRacing so people could race the logo as part of their thing. Like if you go in and you actually do the custom paint through the paint site of iRacing, there's a whole bunch of sponsors in there, like Ragu, and several others. But
here's what Ragu is.
It is a pasta sauce.
A, a pasta sauce?
A pasta sauce.
Okay, thank you. That's a little bit better.
What is wrong with pasta sauce?
Because you sound Southern, I guess.
Or Brooklyn? Yeah, man, it's a pasta sauce. No, that's no,
Get you some
sorry.
pasta. Need to get down there and get you some of that there pasta. That stuff fill you up.
Man, make your pasta all slimy and gooey, man, and all red and stuff. That
Okay,
tastes good,
so
man.
far in a year of doing this show, we have come up with 3 of the greatest terms that our fans love and will forever remember us by. That is
Okay.
space, snakes, and now the new one is going to be pasta.
Pat.
Pasta.
So saying pasta is incorrect, is what you're saying.
Yes.
It should be pasta.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a Canadian thing.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway, he was wondering if we could get our logo in there so that people could pick it when they were making their cars, and the answer is no.
Guess why?
Because we actually did go down that road, and that
We did not go down that road, actually. Chad went down that road.
okay. Well, I mean, I consider us a team. I mean, we don't
yeah.
both have to ask the same questions.
You wreck me at Talladega a lot, so we're not a team.
So Chad did go down that route and asked to see what it would take to have that happen, and what it would take to make that happen is prohibitively expensive, unfortunately.
So if any of you are really rich, and just want to toss a couple thousand away,
by all means. So unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. So he then asked a question which I think is something that might be on some of the other listeners' minds. And I refer to you as listeners because, I don't know, it seems presumptuous to call you fans. And I know that transition should be there by now, but I want to go with listeners because it just makes me feel more comfortable. Because fans seem so, I don't know. But anyway, so other listeners might want to know this as well, and that was, could I paint a car with logos, with your logo, basically? And the answer is yes. If anybody wants to go out there and put our logo on their car, then by all means, please do. If you want to do that as hey, I want to help promote the show, I want to go out there and let people know more about the show, or as Chris had mentioned, it would be kind of cool if you went into a room and saw somebody else with the logo on your car, so you know that you're racing with another listener of the show, and you can say, hey, I know why you have that on your car, and you maybe make some new friends in iRacing. So yes, you can do that if you go to our website over at iRacingTodayRadio.com. Under the About Us page, there is a big old logo that you can grab and throw on your paints if you so desire. And if you do, drop us a note because we'd love to hear about it.
And if you need different versions of the logo, like in Photoshop form, for example, just send me an email because I have them.
Yes, we are very accommodating. Well, Chad is.
But wait, there's more. For an extra $9.95, we'll toss in a hat.
Wait, we're gonna have a subscription fee?
Yeah.
Oh man,
gotta make some money.
Well, so we can get our logo in it.
Yeah.
And he was wondering also, and here was the last of it, was the fact he was wondering, wouldn't it be cool if maybe there was kind of a template that said, anybody who was a listener to the show wasn't really good at painting, such as, I don't know, me, and just wanted to, the iRacing Today radio show car, and said, hey, I'll just load that up because, I don't want to paint, but I want to have their logo on the car. Wouldn't it be cool if everybody had identical cars that listened to the show? I thought that was kind of a cool idea. So I was wondering if maybe we could crowdsource out all you wonderful interactive people and say, hey, you know what? If you want to make up a official iRacing Today radio car that we could put up on the site, put up on Trading Paints for people to grab, that they could run if they so wanted to, then please do. Maybe if we have enough people out there who can paint cars, then we can cover the spectrum. We can have somebody doing the stock cars, and somebody doing, the Star Mazda, the Skippy, and some doing the closed wheel road cars, and so, something like that. So anyway, I guess I said all that to say I think that's a great idea, and if anybody wants to help us out with that, then we would greatly appreciate it. Drop us a line, let us know, and maybe we can create a garage of iRacing Today radio cars that listeners can go in and pick from if they so wish to race that as their official car when they're out there on the iRacing.com software and service.
Wow. Way to end that.
Like that?
Yeah, it reminded me of your closeout on the old podcast.
I know, that's exactly where I stole it from. I'm so good. I'm even stealing from myself.
But that is a fabulous idea, so hopefully somebody out there will do that.
Yes, and thanks for the idea, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we're doing this on video, I was wondering, I've got to get like I just have my teacup here while I'm doing the show. I've got to get like a branded one, so almost like Jimmy Fallon on the Tonight Show. He has his Tonight Show cup, so while I'm sitting there drinking, it'll be my iRacing Today radio show mug.
You know what you could do? You
What's
could
that?
just have your daughter paint another sign like that one in the background, and then you could tape it around your coffee mug.
It might have a challenge with the dishwasher.
Then untape it.
See, now it's maintenance. Speaking of dishwashers, in today's day and age, answer me this. Who doesn't know that you can't put dish soap, like regular dish soap, into a dishwasher? I mean, I would surmise that everybody in this world knows this nowadays. But today, as I'm leaving work, I go into our little cafeteria kitchen area, and there are bubbles everywhere. And it was at the end of the day, and I found it, and it was a mess, and it was a hazard. So me and my buddy Vern ended up cleaning up the mess, and you open it up, and it's just bubbles. It's like, I thought that was something that happened on, like, bad sitcoms. Like, nobody really does that, do they? But apparently there's at least one person in my place of business that, and I looked under the sink, and we didn't have any of the tablets, so I guess somebody went, I'm going to do the dishes. Oh, I don't have those tablet things. Well, they got that little cup in there. I'll just fill that up.
That would have been fun to see. You should have taken a picture.
I should have. Unfortunately, we had already started cleaning up, and halfway through cleaning up, it's like, I should have tweeted this.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, I did not. So now I just have the memory burnt into my brain.
Well, it was a fascinating story.
It was, and I just wanted to share that with everybody, because I'm a sharer. I'm a giver.
I really appreciate that.
Excellent. So, moving right along, that book covers it for the news, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move into Michigan International Speedway, which is an awesome, awesome, great track that I love when the NASCAR guys go there. And why is that, Chad?
Because it is Toyota's playground.
No!
Because Greg Biffle, it's his only track, along with Dale Jr., that they can win at. Oh!
Oh! In the right vein, but still made it insulting.
Yeah. But yes, this is a really cool track, in all seriousness. It is a 2-mile D-shaped ovalish. Sort of D. Anyways. 18-degree banking with a 55-mile-per-hour pit road speed. And it is in Brooklyn, Michigan, United States of America.
Wait, Brooklyn isn't in Michigan. Brooklyn's in New York.
Oh, yeah? What I got a Brooklyn up there in Michigan?
Man, you can't go with original names. I mean, come on. And they're even on the same coast-ish.
Coast-ish?
Well, then again, I'm talking to, up in Canada here, we have the Canadian Football League, and I think at one point in time, we had 6 teams in the league. 6 in our National Football League, and 2 of them were called the Rough Riders. I mean, think that through. You have 6 teams. 2 of them have the same name. Mm-hmm. That's insanity. So I guess there could be 2 Brooklyns.
Once upon a time, Indy cars raced at Michigan, and Paul Tracy set the qualifying record lap of 234.949 miles per hour. That's, decently fast. He could have been a little faster. Yeah, a little disappointed in him. But today, Michigan regularly vies with Daytona, Talladega, and Texas as NASCAR's fastest super speedway, and especially now that they repaved it, although, and that's in real life, we obviously do not have the repaved version yet anyways on iRacing, which is a little bit sad, I guess. But this track, obviously, very big, 18-degree banking, and there's a lot of 3M everywhere.
Yeah, I was going to say that's another part of it that I am uh, liking this track because as you go down the backstretch, it's just like 3M, 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 3M.
Yeah, and for somebody like me who has triple screens, you definitely get a lot of 3M. A lot more of 3M, I guess I should say.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely show up. But this track, man, I don't know what to say. Like I enjoy racing here, and I've had some fun races before, and I've also had some not so fun races. But for the most part, I enjoy racing here because it seems like a track that, regardless of what you race, um, it's slick, it's fast, and it generally, depending on I guess who you're racing with, tends to provide some really good racing. I know that one time I participated in an IndyCar race here on iRacing because of course we can take any car anywhere
Mm-hmm.
that we want to. In case you're not a member, there you go. Now you know. And that was fun, taking the IndyCar around this track because it was like 3 wide. You were, well, I don't remember if we were wide open or not, but it was fast. I don't know how fast, but it was very fast. But it was a lot of fun. So this track, I think, fits a lot of different car combinations. I even, believe it or not, took the street stock here one time with some friends, and it was a blast. Dead
Really?
serious. Oh yeah,
Well, I
absolute
mean,
blast.
I guess I mean because I mean I've raced the street stock at Charlotte,
Hmm.
which and I think that that seemed ridiculous. So I guess it's not that big of a stretch to go Michigan as well.
It's only another half mile. It's just
Yeah.
one Bristol. But
Wow, I never thought about it like that. It's like I don't know. It's like take Charlotte and add the entire length of Bristol onto it, and
yep, that's Michigan.
huh.
Um, but anyways, so my point is that there's a lot of different cars or truck that you can bring to this track, and every single one that I've driven, which is trucks nationwide, Cup, street stock, IndyCar. Trying to think if there's anything else that I took. I may have done a Legends race here, but I don't remember. But basically, everything that I've driven here has been a lot of fun and has provided some very good racing. And the street stock race was probably my most fun race that I've had here, just because of the fact that that car only goes a certain speed, top speed, and so you're kind of down on power in a sense, and you basically are stuck in this huge group of cars. And it was actually a lot of fun, and we all ran like around the bottom the whole time, but we were 2, 3, 4 wide even sometimes, and it was just fun because I guess because mostly it was different, but it was fun also because Michigan is a track that can produce 3 wide racing and even in some cases 4 wide racing. So I recommend that if you haven't tried the street stock, but don't do it just by yourself, do it with a big group of people to
Mm.
go do that because it is actually fun, believe it or not.
Yeah, it'd be kind of boring. I imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine doing a time trial in the street
Yeah.
stock around this place. Oh, you'd fall asleep.
Hmm. So anyways, but I've had a lot of good experiences here. A lot of fun at this track. It's definitely a track that I really enjoy, and especially I'm going to enjoy once June rolls around in the RCRL Pro Series and we head there, provided that I get to race, because I will be in a Yoda, be trying to win up in my American friends' background or backyard, not background,
Yoda?
Toyota.
Oh, race in Michigan, you do. Oh,
Ruh-roh, Raggy.
what? Why? Why? You said Yota. I do a Yoda impression, and you bring out Scooby Doo.
I had to bring up Scooby-Doo
Why? Where's the connection?
because Scooby-Doo is the man.
Scooby Doo's not a
Really a
man.
dog,
He's a dog.
but he's cool.
You're so fired.
Okay. Well, Without me, you wouldn't have a show. So, booyah!
Uh,
But anyways, tell us about your lovely Michigan experiences, and don't talk about Greg Biffle.
so, Greg Biffle. It gets kind of one of those tracks that speaks to my strengths, where I enjoy the intermediate style of track, but this is the 2 miles opposed to 1.5 miles, so it gives me more room and stuff. The one thing that that's weird is even though as wide as it is, um, I've always struggled kind of with the exit of turn two, where it seems like that wall comes up on the exit quicker than it should. Like it's real. Despite the wideness of the track, it's really easy to carry in so much speed through there that you still wash up into that wall, and that's something that I've always had a problem with at this track. But it's certainly a track that I enjoy racing around because there is so much room. I mean, you can take. It's one of those things where once they brought out the new tire model. A while ago now, it's sort of the track that reminds me like Homestead. I mean, I know Homestead is a different shape, but it's one of those ones where it was awe-inspiring the first time I went on this track after the new tire model, and to watch everybody racing different lines through the corner. Because the old tire model, you were basically on a track. If you leave this, you turn the wheel too much, you're spinning out because it was out of control. So once they got the tire on there that you had more control to kind of go into that corner and watch some people taking the corner low, some people taking it mid, some people riding along the wall. It was just that moment that said, this is what racing is supposed to be like. Like it was one of those cool moments because it's so wide and everybody can take a different line through there. But I can't remember any particular experience where I've had luck, but I mean it's one of those things where, hey, I remember the time that I won the race there. It's like, oh wait, no, I don't. I don't win anywhere except for Bristol and Concord apparently. But I have had a lot of fun racing on this course because, like I said, it's one of those things where I like it when there's a lot of room because it gives me a lot of room to stay out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I need to stay out of the way, which is sad. It's also cool because the way that the backstretch is that there's so much room down on the apron and it's paved. So if you do happen to lose it off that corner, and a lot of times when you're washing up towards that wall, you don't hit the wall. You kind of the back end will step out and you'll end up spinning, and it's very possible that you can spin out at this track on the exit at 2, but not hit anything and still be okay because you spin down into that large concrete area or pavement or whatever it is, paved area down there, and get the car back underneath you, and usually it won't even be a yellow because you're off the racing line. So it's not one of those things where you lose it. Oh well, now my day's done. It's easier to save yourself on this track than it is on some other tracks as well. So anyway, fun track, 2 miles, which is great with some good banking, so you carry a lot of speed through those corners.
Oh yeah, that's what makes it fun.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. So that is Michigan. We should do, I don't know, let's talk about a car. How's that? How's that sit with you?
It doesn't, because it's a Chevy.
All right, it's not a Toyota, so you don't care.
But the Chevy National Impala, which, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, or Trevor did, it used to be the nationwide car in real life too. That was replaced with the quote new nationwide car, but now it has turned into basically what some of you may know as the K&N series in real life. It's kind of what this national series is. So. Yeah.
And it's unfortunate too because when I was at Richmond, they had the K&N Pro East Series was racing there that weekend, but because we had all that rain on Friday night, they moved their race to like 10 o'clock the next morning. And since I got to my hotel at 3 o'clock that night after the nationwide race because of the rain and stuff, it's like, hey, that's great. Good luck with that. I ain't gonna be there but it's unfortunate because I was kind of looking forward to seeing these guys race and this style of car. And to see some of these up-and-coming guys, but unfortunate. But anyway, carry on.
It is a 3,300 pound car, and it's approximately 650 horsepower unrestricted, which is down from when it was a nationwide car. For those of you that never drove it when it was a nationwide car, obviously had a lot more power, but now it doesn't. So it is, as Trevor kind of hinted there, the Chevy National Impala is featured in NASCAR's primary development series, which is the K&N Pro Series East and West, which developed from the former former Busch North and Winston West series.
Remember the days it was Bush this and Winston
Yep.
that?
Yep.
It's like,
Good stuff.
back when it was cool to have, beer and cigarettes sponsoring your race series.
Yeah, but more recently known as the Busch East and West Series, but the K&M Pro Series car is based on rules that existed for the pre-COT Cup and Nationwide style cars, with numerous variations to distinguish the cost and performance of these development series cars from the top-level Cup and Nationwide cars. So, like I said, they're a little bit down on the power compared to some of those, but they are 4-speed transmission. And this car goes to, at least on iRacing, several different short tracks throughout the season, or it can at least. I'm not saying it does it all the time, but it can. And this is also the series where they had this past season the deal with Peak and that driving sweepstake thingy that I forget the name of right now. Where
Sweet Peak thing. Yeah, it had a name. I remember it, but it had Peak in the title.
Yep. Peak. But anyways, so whatever that was, this car was used in that series, and whoever the champion was the recipient of that special award. But just to give you an idea of some of the tracks that it goes to, it's pretty much all short tracks, like I said. But like this particular season, it's going to Richmond, New Smyrna, Iowa, Bristol, Thompson, Lucas Oil Raceway, USA, Langley, Rockingham, Irvindale, New Hampshire, and Charlotte Big Oval. So the biggest track, obviously, being Charlotte, which I imagine would be fun in this car, to be honest. So Charlotte's kind of one of those tracks that's fun in about anything.
Yeah, and it's the series itself is cool in the fact that it kind of gives like as far as where it fits into the iRacing service, in that it kind of gives you that go between when you're racing the late models to kind of transition into the big three, the truck, the Nationwide, the Cup car, because it kind of gives you that the stock car feel with down on power a little bit and body style and racing style, but it sticks mostly to the short tracks that you're used to that you would have raced on in the late model type thing. So it's kind of, I know a lot of people really like this series because of that transitional nature, where it kind of gives you that in between. You're not doing the big guys yet, but you're still you have the bigger more power to the car, and you're still on the short tracks. So I know it's a very popular series in the simulation.
And it's also a fixed setup series, although some of the setups are not all that great because they're just really tight. But that's me. For you, you may like it, but for me, no.
Well, yeah, but again, that's because
it's a transitional series.
It's a lot easier for people to race a tight race car than it is a loose race car, because it's like, hey, I'm going in the corner. Well, I guess I need to slow down more in order to make this corner, because I scraped the wall, as opposed to, oh, all right, I'm going to turn the wheel. Oh gosh!
Well, but yes, and short tracks, it for me is just more difficult to steer a car with a setup that is that tight on a short track. But that's me. But I don't race this series all that often anyways. Every now and again I'll jump in and participate in practice sessions because it is kind of a fun car to drive. And I was one of those people who was on iRacing back when it was still the Nationwide car, so I got to drive it under both physics, I guess. So it's definitely, I can tell you guys this much, if you were one of the people out there listening who drove it back when it was the Nationwide car and had all that horsepower and all that kind of stuff, and now you drive it, it's totally different because it just feels slow compared to what it used to be. But I mean, that's obvious. We know why, but it's weird. And I did participate in the Short Track Pro Cup. They had this series, and they may still do, I don't know, but they actually ran this car in a series for, I think, a couple of seasons at least, and I participated not the whole time, but just some, and they kind of turned that into sort of like a Saturday night deal, like the Short Track Pro Cup is kind of famous for, and they had like heat races, I guess, and qualifying and stuff like that, last chance stuff, and And that series was fun, and it used this car with the fixed setups, and me and some of my friends participated in that for a little while, and got to have some fun racing that car. So in a league format, that's really the only time I've raced it in its current state in a race. Otherwise, I just practice it. So it
Right.
is fun to race in. I don't know what the series on the official series looks like so far as how the races go, but I would imagine there's a lot of people who get a lot of enjoyment out of them.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, again, one of those things where they're not as, well, you know what, actually, I guess it depends on different. I mean, because their races kind of go from between 40 and 70 laps, so they're definitely longer races than you've seen in the other series prior to that kind of thing. So, like I said, I haven't actually raced in the official series in this car yet, but I know it is pretty popular with people racing it and stuff. And again, I raced it when it was in its old incarnation. Incarnation? I can make up words. I have a microphone. I can do what I want. And just like Chad
Oh
did,
yeah,
you can make up a word now too.
yeah. I'm gonna sit here and think about one.
you sit, you sit in that corner. You think about what you did.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is the National Impala car, and
Well,
they
you
only have
didn't.
they
You
only they
didn't.
only have Chevys.
Yeah, you didn't talk about your experiences in it.
I haven't had that. Again, I haven't really had that much since they made the changeover. I think I've driven it a couple times just to see what it was like, but I only raced it back when it was the official nationwide car. Um, and obviously it's changed slightly from that now. So I don't have much experience to talk about in this particular vehicle.
Okay.
Are you laughing because I called it a vehicle?
No, I'm laughing because you don't have any experiences.
Aw.
I was disappointed.
I should have came to the pre-show meeting where it's like, all right, here's we're going to talk about this car. Make sure you go get some experiences in it, like right now.
Mm-hmm.
No, no, I know your children want to eat supper with you. That doesn't matter. Grab your
Nope.
racing wheel. Do this up now.
Kids last, driving first. So speaking of driving,
Hmm.
I think there's some experiences going on up in here.
Yes, sir.
So let's see. First thing that I have to say before I forget again and again and again and again. I've been doing this since February. I keep forgetting to say this,
Okay.
but I'm not going to tonight. For those of you that care and have any desire to want to check out those RCRL Pro races that I'm doing, which are on Monday nights, and qualifying starts at 9:15, and then we do like a 20-minute qualifying session. So essentially, we basically start racing between 9:35 and 9:40, depending, I guess. So the point and the thing that I've been trying to say is that we do these races through the league feature on iRacing, which means that if you're on the members website and you highlight your mouse over the events tab, and they've changed up the way that they did this, where they've sorted now how you can watch Ghost, Crew, or Spot between Road Series, Oval Series, hosted rooms, and then league sessions. And if you click, there we go.
If you click
New
on the
word.
thing, man.
Click. That's my new word. But if you click on the Watch, Ghost, Crew, Spot, League tab, Monday nights, as I said, around 9 to 9:30 Eastern Time, you'll see the RCL room pop up there, and then you can watch it if you so desire. And as I've mentioned, at least I think I have, before, there's some of the top oval side drivers racing in there, like for one example, Ray Alfala. And then there's some other guys who race in that Drivers World Championship, whatever we've decided to call that now. So if you want to watch those, you definitely can, but that's up to you. And as a side note to that, I haven't figured out yet if I'm going to be able to do it, but I think that I can, and I'm going to do some testing this weekend. But as some of you may know, that I have a YouTube channel that I've been uploading my point of view races from my little GoPro camera. I about said go camera, but
Go camera. Go gadget camera.
go. But anyways, so I'm trying to. I know how to do it. I haven't done it, so I don't know how it works or if it does yet. But I'm sure it will, or I'm hopeful that I may be able to stream those races, kind of like what Trevor's doing, except instead of it being just the screen, it would be from like a helmet cam, so to speak, or a kind of the camera off to the side like I have on some of my previous videos, and I'm hoping that maybe somehow I can figure out how to stream those so that when I'm actually doing the race, it will obviously be streaming, and then it will just be saved to YouTube, and I don't have to do any editing, because right now it doesn't take a horrible amount of time, but I edited out all the non-important stuff, I guess, and then post it. That doesn't make sense. I post it. So I'm going to try and figure out if I can stream. Hopefully I can, because that would save me some time. It might be cooler for you guys. And if I can't, then I'll just keep posting summaries of the video or of the races and videos on my YouTube channel. So yeah, just wanted to throw all that stuff out there.
Yes, indeed.
Now, my experiences, I have two of them. One of them was last Friday night in the IRL Integrity Racing at Talladega, which did not go so well.
No, it did not.
But I had a fun time talking to Trevor, I guess. So anyways, I don't remember where I started. Maybe 9th or 10th.
I think you started
6th.
8th. I think you started 8th because I started 6th, didn't I?
Yes, and I started right behind you. Well, like on the track right behind you. So, yeah, I believe I started 8th. And then I have no clue where I finished because I quit the race early after getting a little incident entering pit road. So there wasn't much to talk about there. But then Monday night was the return to the RCR Pro Series, which we were supposed to return last week. But unfortunately, the iRacing sat. The iRacing sat.
iRacing sat right down and didn't let us do no races, man. Sat down and really sat on the cable. All the bits and stuff couldn't get right through. So, because somebody was sitting on the cable, they put their chair on it. I mean, it's a table leg, it got all squished up and stuff like that, so you couldn't get in there and all.
Whew. Anyways, the site was crashed, so we were unable to race at Talladega, which they essentially canceled. We're actually going to race this coming Monday, which is the 12th. May 12th, at Talladega, but it's only going to be a fun race. It's not going to officially count for points. There is going to be prize money on the line, but so you'll be able to watch that on Monday if you so desire. That should be fun at Talladega. And anyways, moving back to my actual story, we were at Kansas this past Monday, which is a track that I like, but yet I don't like. On previous games, I have run well there, but I just don't like it. On iRacing, I've still continued to run well, but I still don't know if I entirely like it. I do like the difference of running up against the wall, which is opposite sort of to real life, but it's still fun because it's different. And
okay, so you're saying you like the fact that you have to race up against the wall, like you have to wall ride to kind of be fast? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Because it reminds me of Darlington, which I love. So anyways, we went to Kansas. It was a 134 lap race, and that was my first true experience, at least on a non-plate track, which doesn't really count at plate tracks because it's a plate track, on the new tire model version 5. So I was kind of anxious and I guess excited to learn what this tire model was all about, because as or at least I've mentioned on some of the past couple of shows, I basically had zero experience on this tire model with any car. So I was curious to get out there and see what it was like. And I gotta say that there's a large part of me that's happy with it, and there's a tiny part of me that's a little bit scared of it. Um, I got on early to make sure that I got in some extra practice because I didn't want to be the laughing stock of the race.
You're going to be that guy.
Yeah, don't want to be that guy. And after, I mean, I didn't jump out of the gate crashing, but I wasn't very fast to begin with, but I was still trying to get into it and all. And eventually I started getting the speed down as I got more laps, and eventually I got myself with enough practice to where I was actually really competitive, and I was really excited about that because, as I said, Kansas is a track that is kind of up and down for me in a sense. So that made me even more excited about the race, got into the actual practice room for the race, and was still very competitive, like top 3 or 4 on the board. Managed to go into the qualifying session, which we do the group qualifying now, and for like the 3rd or 4th straight time in that league, managed to make it into the 2nd round of qualifying, which is just the top 10. And now here's the fun part.
Ooh, fun. I like fun.
Yes, my qualifying lap that I laid down in the first qualifying session was good, but it got me 9th on the board, and I don't remember the lap time. But I was like, okay, 9th, and in the past few times that I've made it to the 2nd round, I've never really improved. I think one time I got like a spot or 2, but I've never like truly improved on my 1st round lap. Well, this night I improved, and that's the fun part. I went from 9th in the 1st round, and then halfway through the 2nd round being in 9th to jumping up to 3rd on the board, which obviously made me very happy. And so I ended up starting 3rd, right behind Ray Alfala, who seems to always win everything. So the race was an interesting one. There were a wee bit more cautions than one would have liked, but can't do anything about it. And it is a difficult track to drive with being up against the wall, and the tire model is a little bit more difficult than the past one, at least on the Cup car. And so I can kind of see that, but still, some of it was just over-aggressive driving. Now, the cool part, the video, if you go to my YouTube channel and you watch the video I uploaded of this race, you're going to see some pretty craziness. There was, I don't know, maybe 40 laps into the race, there was a caution, and it was only about 10 laps after the previous caution. And so only about half the field pitted, and I was one of them that pitted. Because the cool thing about this tire model is it gets better as you go, from what I've discovered, which is neat because on the last tire model, like last season, if you ran 4 or 5 laps and they were, hard, fast laps and you weren't just kind of riding around, you basically had killed your tires, and if the caution came out after 5 laps, you would come back down pit road. Whereas in this case, everybody was like on a different strategy, and it was really neat to see because that's really one of the first times that I've seen strategy, so far as tires, come into effect on iRacing. And so under this particular caution, like I said, some of the leaders pitted, some of them didn't. Well, I had barely made contact with the wall, so I had about 8 seconds of optional repairs, which when that caution came out, I decided, well, what the heck, I'm already, it's only 8 seconds, I'm on pit road, might as well just go ahead and fix it. I'm going to lose some positions, but I'm already going to lose some positions because half the people stayed out. So it's kind of a perfect scenario. Well, I did that. Well, I restarted in 19th, and most of what I'm about to say is on the video because it got pretty wild as I started driving my way back up through the field. There were a couple of moments where cars tried to wreck but then saved it, and people were like slowing way down. They were all over the place. I mean, it was pretty crazy. I made a couple of 3 wide moves, which were pretty neat. The race got very exciting, and it was kind of fun. But it was one of those things, kind of like what you were saying with Michigan, where we were all kind of like in different grooves,
right?
At least on restarts. And then once we kind of settled in, we'd just go back to the wall riding thing. But for the first few laps, like I would run on the bottom, some guys were in the middle, some guys were at the top, and you could make all the lanes work for the first so many laps. And it was pretty neat. So overall, I had a lot of fun, and I really did. And ended up, I thought there for a while getting closer to the end that I might have a shot to attempt to win. but that shot never came. So I ended up settling for third, which was a good way to return to that race or that series. And now I'm actually really excited, even though we're going to Talladega next week, which is basically just a doesn't care race, which I'm still going to do.
So
But
it doesn't care if it's a fun. Hey, you know what? This is going to be exciting, and it's either going to end in
horribleness.
amazing excitement or tears. That's Talladega.
Yeah, but I'm going to do it. I'm looking forward to it. But the week after is when we go back to official, so to speak, races where we're running for points, and that's at Charlotte, which is going to be our longest race of the season at 200 laps. And I'm already excited because I like Charlotte and I run well there. But now I'm really excited with this tire model because I think it fits my driving style a little bit more than the last one. Which makes me happy because I was kind of worried that it wouldn't fit my driving style, but it seems to, because it's more difficult to hang on to, at least in the Cup car. But it's still fun, and the thing that I've noticed right away is that it seems to reward consistency, at least with me. I don't know about everybody else, but it seems to do that with me, which makes me even more happy because I've already considered myself pretty consistent, and now I consider myself more consistent because of the tire model. So personally, I'm looking forward to that Charlotte race because I think I could have a really good run. So I'm hoping that I'm going to get in some extra practice for that race, and I'm hoping that it goes really well because I am excited about it. So we'll see.
Excellent.
Now it's your turn to talk.
Now it's my turn to talk. Well, in speaking of that particular Talladega race at IRL, it didn't go good for either of us.
Nope.
Like Chad mentioned, he had that incident going into pit road. I had an incident actually earlier on in the race, in which case I was racing along, and then there was an accident right in front of me, T-boned a car, destroyed my car, and ended up basically riding around for the rest of the night, debating whether or not I wanted to keep doing that. Chad's not racing for points there, so he quit out. I'm still hopeful of making the chase or something in the Rookie of the Year standings in there, so I stuck it out. I couldn't even tell you where I finished. It wasn't great, but it was better than if I had quit. But it was like one of those things where if you actually watch the replay of the race, and again, forewarning, I get wrecked pretty early, and then I'm just riding around, basically talking with Chad and talking to you guys. So if you want to watch me have a conversation, then hey, that's the race for you. But we actually kind of debated back and forth. We kind of had an impromptu show, so to speak, where we're debating on, it's like, well, what makes you decide whether or not you're going to quit out of a race when you have, run into a situation like that? In the end, I guess it came down to, do you care about the points, is what we made the decision. Chad didn't. He quit. I did. I stayed. So anyway, I was actually really disappointed in that because since I've been starting to stream these races, that was the race that kind of stuck out into my mind saying, okay, here's something where I can probably show some good, exciting racing. I can probably get a great finish. Something to kind of redeem me for the horrible getting disqualified that my first attempt at streaming a race was over at Darlington. But that didn't happen, which made me sad. However, I then went and because that was Friday night, and I think it was Saturday. It was either Saturday or Sunday. I think it was Saturday.
Saturday.
I happened to just jump into a couple of races, actually, and then I jumped into a nationwide race at Talladega on the arrive and drive side and decided, you know what, let's just stream it. So that race started off great because by the time I got everything set up, even though I thought I had lots of time, I didn't, ended up missing the start of the race and had to start from the pits. Fortunately for me, not other people, there was a caution, not immediately, but soon enough that I hadn't gotten lapped yet, so I managed to stay on the lead lap and did some racing, fell back from the pack, got a little bit of damage, and was back. And then ended up basically the end result is that I ended up playing strategy. Is it ended up becoming, of all things, a fuel mileage race for Talladega.
I know that was odd.
Yeah, I know, and a lot of people were saving, so they were pulling back, so I ended up debating on that myself. Didn't and didn't decide that decided that I couldn't make it, so I ended up going in for a splash of fuel. And thought, well, here comes a crappy finish. But as it turns out, a lot of people who were trying to kept running out or didn't have good pit stops for their splash. So I ended up finishing sixth. So I was really happy with that because it was a sixth that was earned, so to speak. It wasn't a, hey, you finished sixth because you were racing along the back of the pack and the entire pack took itself out.
Yeah.
It was sixth on. I played a strategy and it worked out. Ended up getting a pretty decent finish out of it. So I mean, being arrive and drive, it didn't really matter because um, in the end, I got good points, but I'm not going to race that series for points over the course of the season, so it didn't really matter. But I got some I rating out of it and I got some safety rating out of it. So I guess it wasn't so bad, but it's fun. So I got 2 streams up this week of races, the IRL one and then that Arrive and Drive one. So hopefully, and while I was doing the Arrive and Drive one, I didn't have Chad with me, so I'm. It's one of those funny things where I'm sitting there racing, and when I wasn't in the middle of the pack and into the excitement part of it, where I can't talk because I'm concentrating. I got nothing else to do. So I was talking, I was giving advice on things. I think at some point in time I was going over what all the black boxes did, or that might have been the IRL race, I don't remember. But I like to talk, especially when I know there's a microphone and a camera looking at me. So I don't know if you're going to enjoy the racing in the races that I stream, but if you enjoy listening to me talk about iRacing, and as a listener to the show, you may have some inkling in that direction, then
they only like me.
These races are a good opportunity. Just listen to me babble on about whatever pops in my mind. And if you think that with that I go down some serious rabbit holes while I have Chad here to help rein me back in when I'm all by myself in the car, man, I can go in some weird directions. So
yeah, I can tell you guys this. As mentioned, I was in a part of the IRL race, and let's see, I guess it was up to the point where you got crashed, which I think was on like lap 16. I watched that, at least that part of the stream. I watched a little bit more, but it's funny because I watched it right after the race was over with, and before I was going to bed, and so I remembered, the conversations that Trevor and I had over TeamSpeak, and obviously, when Trevor's just sitting there talking away, he's not pushing any buttons, so I can't hear him. Watching the stream back, and remembering, our conversations and what was happening, I was like, wow, he talks a lot. Because he was just talking and talking and talking, then all of a sudden you can, tell he's talking to me, and, I can remember, oh, yeah, that's when he said something to me. And then, a couple seconds later, I come on and say something, in response. I was like, man, he's just always blabbling on about something. And it's funny though, because you seem to I don't know, Atlanta. If you were at Atlanta, you seem to be comfortable with talking, and then at Talladega, when you're in the thick of it, it's can't talk, gotta focus. Whereas I'm almost the exact opposite. At super speedway races, I can talk the whole time, but at places like Atlanta and Richmond, et cetera, there's nothing that comes out of my mouth unless there's a caution. But it's just funny. I observed that and noticed that this weekend. We're opposite on how we talk or when we talk.
Yeah, and so I guess in the coming races, hey, I guess I'll be talking more because we're not going to be doing the super speedway racing. Excuse me. Oh, pardon me. So.
Am I supposed to take over right now?
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where, okay, if Chad doesn't talk, they're going to watch me burping. That's exciting. So, yeah, it's okay. Even if I'm quiet, it doesn't matter. As long as you're not making noise, the Google Hangout doesn't switch over to you. So yeah, that doesn't work out so good at all. But
we do go to Richmond tomorrow.
We do, and I've raced. I did a couple laps there last night. Actually, I got on and raced a few different things. Of all things, I was in the Lotus 79 at Road Atlanta.
It's a good car.
And I was in the Skippy at Silverstone. Just trying to race some laps with road cars. Everybody's always ragging on me about not doing road cars, so I'm figuring I've got to get better at it. So I'd race some laps there, and I raced some laps around Richmond in the Nationwide car to kind of see how that felt in the new build.
Yeah, I just want you guys to know out there that my YouTube channel is better than Trevor's right now because I actually have videos of road races that I've done, and he has none.
So,
None.
and it's one of those things where I mentioned on I actually posted in the forums under the official iRacing Today radio show thread.
Which has become a hot forum post now, according to iRacing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's got like that little red dot next to it because it's like 5 pages long.
But yeah, actually, I thought that might be, just thinking out loud, one of those things that might be a fun idea is maybe I start, because on my YouTube channel I have the show, my races. Maybe I start a new section in there for Trevor tries to road race, and then just have me going out there and attempting to learn how to road course race, and stream the experience of the good, bad, and ugly, mostly the bad and the ugly for everybody. So that might be fun for somebody. I don't know if it'll be fun for me or not, but it might be interesting. I don't know.
It'd be entertaining.
But anyway, so that was mostly my iRacing experiences for the week. And as a reminder, again, that's all going on with the YouTube channel. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the show there, me and Chad have been kind of gussying up our pages and trying to organize it better. And thanks to Mr. John Hensley, who I've mentioned in the past on the podcast, he's done some cars for me, raced with him, and I'll go with friend of the show. Did some artwork up for my YouTube page to help it look less generic and default, and I think you did some up for you as well there, Chad.
Yep.
So
mine's cooler.
Blah blah blah. Anyway, you can find my YouTube channel over at Ratface Productions under YouTube. Just search that. Remember, 2 T's for the Ratface to make it distinctive and always spelled wrong by everybody. So you can find me there. And what's your page called there, Mr. Chad?
Well, my page is called White Knight Productions because I've gone with this White Knight thing with all my cars being white. But the link to it is still, because I just updated the name, youtube.com/user/Cadillac-Dalton77, because that's what it used to be called until I decided to go with White Knight Productions to be different. And I gotta, copy Trevor. But my races are, the things that I have on my YouTube are I do those RCRL races, and then I have like a little list for them, and then I have just random iRacing races, which is where those road course races are, and then a couple of other random videos. And I also have a list for our show. So in case you don't want to go to Trevor's, YouTube channel, you're just totally against Trevor. And you can get them on mine, just as an FYI.
Mm-hmm.
And you have still not subscribed to me on YouTube, and I'm very disappointed in this.
Yeah, well, like I mentioned,
I subscribed to you the first day, which was really yesterday.
Well, I don't like to promote channels I don't really believe in. I want to make sure that the content's going to be good.
But yeah, you have a link on the right side of your post.
Well, because you asked me to. See,
channel,
you said link to my page, and I said, okay.
And see, I put it there willingly. You didn't ask me. I just said, man, Trevor's one of my favorite people. I'm going to put a link to his thing right there, just for him. You're my favorite Trevor out of the whole wide world.
Even better than Trevor Bain?
Yep.
Wow.
I know nice. Trevor Bain, but not that well. And y'all are the only 2 Trevor Bains that I know. Or not Bains, but Trevor.
The only 2 Trevor Bains you know are Trevor Bain, the race car driver, and Trevor Bain, the guy who makes hamburgers down at the truck on the corner there.
Yeah. But anyways, that was a random thing. So, yeah, hopefully, I am, seriously, and hopefully I'll be able to get it up in time. I doubt I'll be able to do it if I race Richmond tomorrow, but I may. Doesn't seem like it's that difficult. But I'm hoping that I can stream with my little GoPro thing, because that would be so much easier. And So hopefully, may be able to do it tomorrow. Doubtful. I'll have about 4 hours to mess with it. So it's possible between the time I get home from work and the time the race starts, and that does not include practice, so I really only will probably have about 3.5 hours. Um, but if I can't get it done by then hopefully I can do that with the Talladega race if it will work. Because I kind of want to stream.
Yeah, and what I'm hoping to also participate in one of the probably the Friday night version of the iRacing.com Indy 500. It's one of those races that I always kind of, I kind of like to do and whatnot. But now that I've gotten into the streaming, I think I'm gonna, talk with management and see if I can clear up a time slot with which I can actually participate in this activity, so I can stream it. Because hey, it's a World Tour event, and hey, wouldn't it be neat to watch me race in an Indy 500, or at least for the few laps I race before I crash out, which quite frankly, actually isn't. I've actually had some pretty good success racing World Tour events at Indy, as far as not crashing out. So, and it's a lot of fun in the IndyCar. Like that track, it almost doesn't look like it's fun, which is weird because it's got that weird shape to it, but it's actually quite a lot of fun to race around that track.
Yep.
In the IndyCar. So, and it's not as it's challenging to be fast, and it's challenging when you're in traffic, but it's not as challenging as you might think it is to just keep it under control on that track with the speeds that you're carrying. It's not. I mean, you have to practice, and you have to be ready for it, and you have to be concentrating, but it's not as hard as you think it is, I guess, is kind of the point.
Yeah, it really isn't. I may even do that race if I'm not doing anything and feel like it. Now, a quick note. If you go to iRacingTodayRadio.com /links, LINKS, we've got a bunch of our favorite links down through there, but you'll also have a direct link to both my YouTube and Trevor's YouTube, just in case you forget what we just said and want to go check them out if you haven't. As a programming note.
As a programming note. We are going to transition now into our rookie tip of the week, which was a question that was posed to us by a listener. And I believe I know who it is, but I just want to confirm. Unless you remember.
Nope.
Okay.
I'll just play theme music. Do 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 do
Well,
do.
no, don't do that. That's not. You're not helping. You're not helping.
Everybody loves Jeopardy.
Okay, I was correct. It is listener Scott. I'm going to go with Feldhausen. Actually, I think he may or may not be watching live right now because he had commented while we were recording. So, Scott, if I've mangled your name, I apologize. But he was
Send hate mail to him.
No hate mail. Just correct me. He was just wondering about basically joining a team on iRacing and how to go about that. And I mean, obviously, me and Chad have talked a lot about the iRacing Today Motorsports. Where we have me, myself, Andy, Larry, and Lewis. Well, he doesn't race for a while. He's been busy with real life.
You used to always forget Jeff Ford, and now you're forgetting Lewis.
Somebody has to be forgotten. I mean,
I'm just glad it's not me.
You're in my face all the time, man.
Well, that's why. That would be really embarrassing for you if you forgot me. I'm just be like, hey, over here.
So he was wondering about joining teams and kind of how to go about it and what it adds. I mean, I know we've talked about it a little bit in the past on previous shows and whatnot, but I guess I'll start with the fact that the most important thing I found with having a team. I mean, I've gone through the story before how the iRacing Today Motorsports came along. I started the team as a joke back in my STPC days, and then Larry joined up with me and said, "Hey, you know what? I'll join your team." It's like, "Hey, I just wanted to make a funny news release." But as we went on, we found that the most important criteria to me when it comes to joining a team was just finding like-minded people that you knew. Like, it wasn't necessarily about finding the fast people. It wasn't necessarily finding the people who were going to share their setups. It was about finding the people that you enjoyed spending time with, and you knew that their reputation was something that wasn't, was in a similar area as yours. I mean, something that they're not out there racing in such a way that you're gonna like, oh, that's not the way I like to do things, and that's kind of embarrassing. Like that was most important for me when it came to picking people for our team. Um, what about you, Chad?
Yeah, well, I've never been a team owner, but I know that there was one team that I participated on that had some guys that I really enjoyed racing with, but it also had some guys that, it's not that they were bad, but I just felt uncomfortable, I guess, and so it kind of made me not want to race with them. Now with you guys, I've always felt comfortable, and have enjoyed, participating. So basically, I say all that to say that I pretty much agree with what you just said. That you find guys that you enjoy running around, and it may not even have anything to do with the car or how they drive. It's just who they are, their personality.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess the best way to find people like that is to go out and uh, be in a league. I mean, you go and you arrive and drive, you make friends out there, you find people that you race with occasionally. Um, I don't think I would have formed the team with the people that I have unless I was racing with them week in, week out in a league. So I mean, I guess that's another piece of advice. If you want to join up with the team, is find a good league and start racing with them and make friends and look for people out there who are, like I said, like-minded. I guess I know for me personally, not only did I have some good experiences racing with these guys and have fun just talking on TeamSpeak while you're doing races and stuff, but I gained a lot out of it where I had people helping me with my line, people giving me advice. I mean, Chad Detillier, he helped me with how I was supposed to be approaching corners. Mr. Dalton here, was spotting for me, was giving me advice on what I was, some things I might need to tweak. Larry's taught me stuff about, uh, setups and stuff like that, uh, and Jeff and Lewis are cool too. I was thinking, as I'm thinking, it's like, okay, and what? It's like, man, why did I go down the route where I'm calling everybody out by name and what they gave to me? It's like, oh, this doesn't end well.
Jeff gave you a lot of setups.
Yes, Jeff helped with setups as well.
And a couple wins along the way and a championship, and
well, yeah,
he's a
funny.
fellow Canadian.
I never thought about it from that point of view, where it's like, hey, you know what? Hey, we actually had some championships with the.
We have 10.
That's a lot. So what I'm saying is, go out there. If you start a team, go out there and find people who are going to win for you because you can't do it yourself.
And and Lewis has also spotted, at least for me.
Yes.
I don't know about anybody else. So.
True, and he has a very large dog, and that's and shares pictures of with that's always funny.
Yes, it is actually. If you want to follow somebody on Twitter, but yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, yeah, I think that's the easiest way to go about it is to be racing in a league.
I know I see a lot of times people post in the forums, hey, looking for a team, blah, 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 blah. I don't know how well that works because I've never actually seen the results of if those people found a team. I know there's been a couple of times where somebody said, hey, looking for a team, and somebody said, check your PMs, but I don't know, which was private messages, obviously. But I don't know if that actually worked out or if they
led to anything good. Or
yeah, did they just have a chat and then that was it? Did they actually come together and join forces and then separate? I mean, so I don't know how well that works, but if you wanted to try that, you could. Free forms, do whatever you want, sort of. So, but like Trevor said, and I would agree with this, it's probably the best way to do it in a league, especially once you've gotten into that league and raced there for a certain length of time. And you don't necessarily, like he's kind of said, you don't really need to show that you can win races because it's really not totally about that. Now, there are some teams that only want you if you win races, but
true enough.
The average team, I would say, would just be fine with you, not having a super big temper, not just bumping people everywhere, being a nice overall guy or gal, will lead you to getting on a pretty good team.
Right. And another piece of advice I'll also give is while you're in that search for finding a team, because I mean, like I said, what you're going to do with those teammates usually is you're going to practice together, you're going to race together, you're going to share setups, but you're going to spend a lot of time, most likely, talking on some sort of third-party setup like TeamSpeak, and you spend a lot of time just getting to know them and having fun. I mean, because that's what this is all about in the end, anyway. So I mean, don't go out and say join a league and then just try to desperately find okay, who has a team? I need to join a team. I mean, just race with the guys and just find who you click with before you make a decision. Because I mean, let's say you join in and then all of a sudden you find somebody, say, okay, I'm going to join a team with that guy. And then you find not necessarily anybody's bad, good, or otherwise, but you just find, you know what, you're just not really the kind of guy that I like to sit around and talk with. They're always, oh wow, it's like I didn't know that guy's always swearing, and stuff like that. I don't want that in my ear all the time, or that guy's always talking about things that make absolutely no sense on a radio show that's all about iRacing, and in your mind it's like, well, this wasn't what I wanted. Then it gets
That
awkward.
sounds like you.
Then it gets awkward. Then you're all like, so I don't want to be your teammate anymore because I want to be that guy's teammate because as it turns out he's more akin to what I like. So sorry, no hard feelings, but we're still going to race together and be friends. Yeah, you don't want the drama. I mean, come on, we have enough drama in our lives though. Race team drama. I don't know, pretend car.
I can tell you guys this. I've been on 2 teams on iRacing. In neither time when I joined them, I was not looking for a team. Doesn't mean that I didn't want to be on one, but I was just not there looking for a team. The first group of people that added me to their team was when I was racing Tour Modifieds, and all I was doing was just showing up and racing. Just clean. I wasn't yelling at people, which I never do anyways, but I wasn't yelling at people, and I wasn't, being that guy that cusses and nobody wants to be around. I was trying to be a clean driver, and I was pretty fast in that car. And those guys, and I still remember it, I joined an official race at Thompson to do that tour mod race and got ready to grid, and somebody came over the voice chat and was like, hey, Chad, can you stay afterwards? And I was like, yeah, sure. So after the race, they were like, we want you to join our team. And I was like, okay, sure. And then basically the same thing happened with Trevor, although it's slightly different because I knew him before from the podcast, from listening to the podcast. But still, I mean, when I joined STPC, I was not looking to join a team. And then just kind of out of the blue, I get a message on Twitter saying, hey, Chad, would you like to join our team? So, if you just show up and do what you're able to do behind the wheel, whether it's really awesome or just mediocre, whatever it is, and you keep a clean head on, I guess, you'll land something. I did. I didn't even do anything. I just showed up and drove and tried to be nice, and I got 2 offers.
Yep, and then he ended up on a podcast weekly and doing all the work. So,
Yep. That's what your life can become.
Happy ending, I guess.
Nice guys finish last.
But before we head off into the end of the show here, as we have gone our allotted time and then some, as we normally tend to do, I have some breaking news. Apparently, and this is from Mr. Tony Gardner with reference to the late model. As everybody knows, who's listening to the show, they released IRP/Lucas Oil Raceway recently, and apparently they've been having some problems with people riding the wall in order to gain speed and improperly driving the course, or the track, so to speak. So, according to Tony Gardner, and I quote, "People are wall riding." Wait, oh man, I forgot the voice. I already did my Tony Gardner voice. People are wall riding at IRP to gain speed, and we are working on some wall friction adjustments for that. But anyway, that is the track for next week in the late model. So we swap. There's no punctuation in here at all. So we swapped in Stafford instead next week and pushed IRP back a few weeks in the schedule. Sorry about the swap. Good racing. So apparently they found a problem with the way that people were racing the IRP in the late model and using the wall to an unfair advantage. So they're apparently going to fix it, and they moved the schedule around so that people aren't going to suffer for that, and they can race it when it's all fixed. Cheater!
Oh.
So when they say they're working on some wall friction adjustments, I wonder what that means. Like, is that going to be the wall's going to become sticky?
Probably.
And, you know, because I know a lot of the tracks, I don't know if it's particular to that track, but I mean, there are tracks where, man, you get up next to that wall and that thing will suck you in like nobody's business and not let go.
Like Kansas.
Man, the number of times like I have scraped the wall and then almost crashed just trying to get it off the wall because you turn the wheel little bit. It's like and you just give it that to get off the wall, and all of a sudden now you're 45 degrees towards the infield. So anyway, that's interesting. I don't remember the last time I've ever seen, or if I've seen them, where they've adjusted the schedule mid-season because they've noticed basically what accounts to a bug in the way, or at least an exploit, I guess would be more correct, in the way that the a particular track was racing. So changing it around, saying, you know what, it's broke, let's fix it, and let's make sure that everybody's not going to have a a problem with that type thing. So I think that's pretty cool that they're adjusting. Wouldn't you say so?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. I love distracting you.
Do you?
But anyways, so
well,
yeah,
I was trying to get to a point where I could interact in that. We need a production team. That's what we need. We need like somebody in the production truck who's going to be able to handle all the audio visual. Like I do everything. Let's call a spade here. You do all the work before we start, and then once the cameras and the audio equipment starts rolling, it's all on me, baby. So I have a lot of things going on here.
Okay, but anyways, yeah. So I'm glad that they're taking care of that stuff. Gotta get rid of all that stuff, man. Can't be allowing that stuff be on that game, man.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, buddy. Can't be letting that stuff happen. So yeah, check out our YouTube channels and love us some more.
Yeah, give it. Actually, you know what? And we joke about going and seeing the channels and stuff, but I'm impressed. I am happy. I am overwhelmed with the fact that the number of people who have spent time watching what I've been putting up there so far, and so I thank you. I mean, I have more subscribers than I thought I would have, way more views, and a lot more minutes. With people watching one of the videos I put up on that channel. I thought it would just be kind of hey, I would have a dozen people come and check it out, and I was doing it mostly for me, but a lot of people are actually coming out there. I think I figured it out, like there's over 7,000 minutes of watched videos on my channel so far, and that equates to like a lot of hours. So thank you. I hope that you're enjoying what I'm putting up there, and give me any suggestions on anything you want to see any different. I haven't had any other game stuff up on there yet, but I plan on it. I just haven't had a chance to yet because I've been either racing or, not. I haven't done a lot of other stuff. I've been doing some Battlefield playing, but I haven't really streamed any of that. I don't know how that would play out. It's like, hey, here's Trevor sucking at a first-person shooter. Enjoy! Woo! But yes, go check out our YouTube channels, and thank you very much for doing so already, and continue to do so. And tell a friend or something, because that's how the internet works, isn't it? Just tell your neighbor, hey, go check out this guy's YouTube channel. He does stuff and races and talks a lot. So,
wow, you keep changing voices.
That's what I do, man.
I only have 2,498 minutes watched, but I show a lot less content than you do if you look at the minutes of my videos.
Oh my goodness! I swear I'm a voice, like a voiceover actor who's been trapped as a electronics technician. That's why I have the voices. I have all these experience. I have so much to give the world in audio format, and I'm just finding different ways to express myself.
Mm-hmm.
One of which ways is by this. Wow, that's one of which ways by this show. God, shush, nah. So,
Tony Gardner.
Tony Gardner, everyone. Thank you very much. We're never going to get him on this show.
Nope. There went that, Dill.
But this show is one way that I have to express myself, and this show is now coming to a conclusion.
I don't know if going to be finished or not.
So, about do it that will for this week.
Woo! Big thanks.
Big thanks, all you listening. Yay! Remember, the show is available for download on iTunes and Zune under their respective podcast sections.
Perspective.
Perspective. You know, it's all about perspective, man. Where we'd really appreciate you giving us a review if you can do so to help us get the word out. As we have mentioned, you can also check out our, for the show itself in particular, you can check it out on my YouTube channel over at Ratface Productions on YouTube, or you can check out Chad's channel. Doesn't have my show on it. You know, my show. It doesn't have my show on it.
On there.
But he's got other stuff. It's okay. You can check out the website for information, archives, links, and the polls we mentioned. Like this one's poll, which I really am honestly curious to see what the results of that one are. You can check that all out at our website at iRacingTodayRadio.com. You can follow show news through Facebook at facebook.com/iRacingTodayRadio for myself, and twitter.com/itsCadillac for Mr. Chad.
I'm pretty sure you just messed that up.
What?
You read the facebook.com/iRacingTodayRadio for myself.
Okay, so Facebook is facebook.com/iRacingTodayRadio. That's for both of us. That's for the show.
Yeah.
Then, if on Twitter, at twitter.com/iRacingToday for me, and Twitter for Chad is at itsCadillac. I don't know. I mean, it's written down. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Read it? That's just boring. I got to add some personality, some punch it up, you know?
But you just skipped your own Twitter.
I don't know what's going on. I'm not a professional.
Obviously not.
I'm just a monkey with a microphone.
Okay. Please email any questions, comments, and poll suggestions, like a lot of you have been doing lately, that you may have to feedback@iRacingTodayRadio.com, or fill out our little contact form on the contact page on our website if you're one of those people who likes to do that. And, of course, feel free to add myself and Trevor as friends on the iRacing.com members website, and thank you for making me the most popular host.
Mostly me, because I need to have some catching up to do. So.
You're like 20 behind. I've got like 3 or 4 more since then. But until next week, ladies and gentlemen, remember... Oh, just kidding. Oh, that is my part. Remember, the race is rarely won in the first turn.
But it is often lost there. Good night, everybody.